Hello and welcome to Psychic Development and Channeling classes. I'm Liah Howard and I will be teaching this 20-class series of classes. Today our class is going to be focusing on preparing yourself to open up psychically and preparing your space to channel. Now before we get into those specific information and exercises and meditation, what I'd like to do is go over some of the content that will be covered in the other 19 classes. So before we start, I'd like you to ask yourself, are you ready to stop asking others for advice and start getting the answers you're seeking? See that kitty looking in the mirror? That kitty sees his or her grandness. And that's what you will see by taking this class and touching in and tapping into your divine higher self. Are you ready to confront anything and everything that may be getting in the way of you accessing your intuition? When you sign up for a class like this and you follow through and you make a commitment, you are able to clear away old programming and blocks and really help you to access your divine intuitive guidance. And are you really ready to be the amazing psychic that you were meant to be? If you are, I am so grateful that you have joined me today and that you're on this journey of opening. Welcome from wherever you are around the world. Thank you so much for being here. So the Psychic Development 20 class series, it is designed to provide a safe, supportive learning environment. I have been teaching these classes for over 25 years, and I'm happy to be teaching you. They are designed to help you know and trust the presence and guidance of your higher self, your angelic helpers, and your spirit guides. They will assist you in listening to your deepest intuitive knowing. They will help you to clear away any blocks or fears to your psychic ability, and they will help you to develop really practical skills and tools for doing psychic readings. Also, this last segment, the last 5 classes, will be helping you to prepare yourself to bring yourself out into the public and be a professional psychic practicing in the world. This is a lot of information to cover. Each of the classes is between 75 and 90 minutes. I think one is even 2 hours. That had so much information. So we have a lot of ground to cover, but we can do it together. So each of the classes does include an instructional video with me, 40 to 60 informational slides that will have lecture, exercises, guided meditations, book and web resources, inspirational quotes, and homework assignments. So even though you're taking this class, there's also work that you'll be doing on your own, follow-up, doing meditations, doing some journaling, doing practicing, sort of like learning to swim. You can't really learn to swim without jumping in the pool and getting wet. You can't really learn to do psychic readings unless you practice with other people. So I'm hoping that each of you has someone in your life, or many people in your life, that you can actually start practicing doing sessions with once you get some of these skills. So beginning level 1, this is the first 5 classes. The levels are divided into 4 areas, and level 1 is Introduction to Psychic Development and Channeling. And let's look at what that includes. The first class today is preparing yourself and your space to open up psychically, so that the environment is conducive for your opening, that you feel safe, you can relax, and you can receive information, that your body is ready on every level, and emotionally and mentally you're ready. Lesson 2 is connecting with your guides, your higher self, and getting a sign. Although we will do a meditation today about getting a sign and connecting as well, but that class is really much more detailed in regard to that. Class number 3 is integrating the parts of the self and aligning oneself to channel, so that you're completely open and ready to receive on every level, that there's no old programming or blocks or fears that may be holding you back in any way. And these classes, even though it says beginning, intermediate, advanced, they're actually for any level of practitioner. Even if you've been practicing for 20 years yourself and you want to take your practice to the next level of deepening for you, of trusting. Maybe you've been working with cards and you want to trust just your intuition. Maybe you've been doing runes and you want to just listen inside without having any tools. That's all discussed as well. And the next one is receiving messages from your divine higher self through the dimensions, past and your future self, and then balancing the left and right brain hemispheres to access higher frequencies. As you know, the left brain is more that left linear part, the right brain is that more creative, intuitive part, and it's really them working together in unison that opens us up to receive the deepest levels of our intuition. So the second level, the beginning intermediate level 2, is psychic protection and clarifying the messages you receive. Now some people say to me, well, why don't you teach psychic protection in the very first class? I do definitely do a prayer and work with light, but I do believe very deeply in my heart and soul that love is the most powerful force in the universe, and that when we are working from a place of love, that is what we attract. So I will be teaching specific tools and techniques in this segment, but up until then we're going to be working with prayer and light. Beginning intermediate level 2, here's the classes that it includes. Psychic self-protection and clarifying the messages you receive. So chakra balancing and clearing and cord cutting, all really important things to know. Aura cleaning, room clearing, banishing negative energy. Clarifying messages through listening to your body, mind, and emotions. We receive information through this vehicle, this beautiful physical vehicle that we are. And then the healthy inner child, the seat of your intuitive knowing. The inner child really is where your psychic information comes from. So we want him or her to be happy and healthy. And then working with specific symbols and pictures in conjunction with your guides and higher self. I think that was the longest class because there was so much information to pack in. So intermediate level number 3, that will be the 11th class, is deepening your connection and developing your own unique reading style. What works for you? And sometimes you learn what works by trying something and finding that isn't quite the right technique for you. So deepening your connection and developing your unique reading style, class number 11, is integrating healing into the psychic sessions. Lesson 12 is learning how to combine all your psychic abilities such as clairsentience, clairvoyance, telepathy, mediumship, and healing. That's a very in-depth class. If you're interested in mediumship, that would be definitely the class for you. Class number 13 is deepening the trance state. How can we go even deeper and receive even more wisdom and guidance and more clarity with the messages? Class number 14 was a fun class. That is using divination tools, and we're going to go through over 10 different divination tools and the specifics of using them, and starting with your own body as the most important divination tool. Then class number 15 is clearing away fears and blocks to successfully follow your intuitive knowing. So again, people say, well, why don't you do that earlier on? We will be looking at clearing fears and blocks earlier on, but that class is in particular looking at the deeper levels so that you can really go out in the world and share your gifts, share your light, share your love, and help humanity. So the advanced level 4, becoming a psychic practitioner, and some of you may want to just jump to that level if you've already got a practice going. This is going to help to take your practice really to the next level in terms of the business plans, and let's look at some of the details of that. So lesson number 16 is doing psychic readings at fairs, events, parties, and other venues. A really fun class. And lesson 17 is doing psychic readings in sessions via phone, Skype, radio, and TV. And it's very in-depth. There's a tremendous amount of information. For each of the webinars, I shared my many, many years of experience, as well as I did a tremendous amount of research myself to share with you. And for example, the next one, number 18, developing a business and marketing plan, I actually hired a consultant to help me formulate a really good business and marketing plan specifically for psychics and healers and light workers. Also, lesson number 19, Internet and Social Network Marketing for Your Business. This is an amazing class. If you're ready to really put yourself out there in the world and get noticed and get seen and get a much larger clientele, this is the class for you. And class number 20, I ended with being an ethical psychic practitioner. It's really a reminder. We're going to be talking about that all throughout the other classes, but this one really focuses in on what does that mean to be a professional psychic practitioner in the world? What is the responsibility that comes with it? What are the qualities you want to develop? And how can we carry that out so that this profession It was sort of like years ago, nurses were not given a whole lot of respect, and then the nurses all kind of rallied together, and they ended up getting a higher level of pay and more respect from the doctors and more benefits. And I think psychics have come a long way in terms of the professionalism, but there is a long way to go, and there are some psychics who might give psychics a bad name. So that's why this class is especially important to me, that we can have psychics be professional, responsible, clear, and helpful. Always listen to your inner guidance. So some of the methods may resonate with you deeply and they'll be very, very easy for you to do, and then others may require extra practice, discipline, and patience. They may be more challenging. That's because we all learn in different modalities, and one modality might be easy for you and another one might be a little harder. So hang in there with all the classes and see what really works for you. And by the end of this 20-week series, you will be able to put together a psychic program for yourself that works. Whether you want to use it professionally, whether you want to use it just to build your own personal practice, whether you want to use it in your healing practice or with being a musician and bringing out deeper levels of being in that way. So trust yourself. No matter what, trust yourself. If there's anything that I say that does not feel right to you, let it go. There's an expression, take what you like and leave the rest. I invite you to do that. Now, first and foremost, I can serve as your teacher. I'm delighted and happy to serve as your teacher. I am also your student as well, and interaction is welcome. You have a text chat box down there. You can also email me or call me if you have questions. I can serve as your teacher, but you are ultimately responsible for tuning into your own highest guidance. This class is about, that saying, you can teach a man to fish. You can give a man a fish, or you can teach him to fish. And when you teach him to fish, then the rest of his life he can provide. And that's what I want to do in this class, is give you the skills and the tools so that you can go out, listen to your inner guidance, and make some really positive, amazing choices in your life. So Dean Jackson, who's a professor at Nova University, said the role of the spiritual teacher is not to impress with words, but rather to simply remind us of who we really are. Who we really are. Who we really are is these amazing beings of light. And I'm so honored to be working with you wherever you are on your path, and delighted that you're here. So class number 1, that's today, preparing yourself in your space to open up psychically. So if you look at the picture on the left, you see all the chakras are nice and aligned, and the space on the right shows a beautiful little altar with sacred pictures and candles, and there's probably some flowers there somewhere. I guess there's a rose right there. That's a beautiful altar. It doesn't have to be big, but to create that sacred space. This is what we're going to cover in this class today. So I want to invite you to have a notebook handy, and you can always stop if you need to and come back. Go get a notebook and come back. So this class does include the benefits and blockages to psychic development, understanding of channeling, and I'll be teaching you 7 different specific psychic tools so you can actually start practicing and using them. The channeling and psychic prayer that I received from my channeling teacher over 25 years ago. Ann Cataldo was her name. She's now on the other side. We'll cover the 4 modes of receiving psychic information. We'll go over the qualities of being a good psychic. We'll be learning about listening to spirit. I'll be sharing some resource materials with you, and I always like to end with a guided meditation to connect you. So, and when you go back to listen to this webinar at another point in time, you'll find that I have indicated where the homework is. I have indicated what slide the meditation is on, so that you can go back and study it again and again. So right now, I want you to just close your eyes, and I want you to ask your higher self in one word, what does your higher self want you to get out of this class? And just tune in and see what that one word is. And whenever you're doing intuitive work, it should come very, very easily, very effortlessly. If you're working at it, you're not doing it right. If you're working at it and not trusting, that's the opposite of letting it be easy. That's the opposite of receiving. With intuition, it's usually the very first word that comes. That is the word or the image or the feeling that you want to go with. So I'm curious what some of the people said. And if you can just type that in the bottom and we'll look at a few of them. What does your higher self want to get out of this class? Peace, guidance, connection, spirit, clarity, presence, journey. Oh, okay. All right, so we have a lot of wonderful, wonderful goals for this class that your higher self, who works with my higher self in union with your guides and my guides, to bring us all together for this class. Now, I'd like you to think about what 3 goals you personally would like to have for this class, and that could be anything from deepening your psychic skills to getting clearer with your psychic skills, to bringing your business out in the world, to teaching others. What are your goals for the class? So let's just think about that for a minute. And if you have pen and paper handy, if you can think about, let's just take a minute. What are your goals for the class? Why do you want to take this class? I always ask myself that too, because even though I've done this class hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, each time it's different, and the students that come are different, and they make for a different class. So thank you again, each of you, for being here. So those answers are a little long, but I want you to have them written down, and then when you're done with the class, I want you to go back and see if you did fulfill your purpose for coming to this class. And oftentimes it has to do with our connecting to our divine authentic selves, to our higher selves, to our spirits. First, we need to ask ourselves, how do we maintain our center and inner connection amidst the busyness of life? Now, this is kind of a New York or San Francisco street. I'm in Maui. We don't really have busy streets like that, but sometimes the busyness can actually be in your brain. You can have this kind of activity going on, lots of chatter about what you have to do or what you needed to do or where you need to go, or sometimes even just emotional baggage or garbage. So one of the things that we're going to be learning is about how do we put that aside, regardless of what's going on in your life. How do we put that aside so that we can be an open vehicle and vessel? I like to think of us when we're receiving intuitive guidance, that we become kind of like the vase, the open vase that receives the water, the vessel that is filled, or the blank chalkboard that can just receive the information. So think about that in your life. Do you have busyness going on in your head that right now you could sort of just set aside, let it go, release your expectations, tell your body to be quiet, and imagine, instead of the busyness in your brain, that you're in a beautiful field and the wind is just blowing very, very softly. And that feeling of looking at wildflowers growing in a field, I don't know if you ever remember doing that, but I remember this one field. It was actually in Florida, northern Florida, and it was full of wildflowers. And every time I looked at it, my inner self just started to smile because it was very peaceful and joyful. So that is our connection. We can bring ourselves back there at any point. Why develop inner wisdom and guidance and become a clear channel? Why do we want to do that? So usually it's to feel more of a connection to your divine higher self. So if you imagine that, let's just say that this fingernail right here is your physical body and your emotional self, just the top of the fingernail, and the whole rest of my being is my higher self. Wow, that's a big part to connect with. And that's what we can do when we get quiet and still and ask to receive intuitive guidance, that can happen. We can also use our psychic skills for helping others. And some of us have been doing this anyway, perhaps without the clearest direction, but we have naturally been psychics, and this is going to help to hone your skills so you'll know when is it appropriate to share, when is it not, how can I say this, what's a way that I can say it so it can be received. The other thing is some people take this class not just to be a psychic or to be a healer, but actually to enhance their creative abilities, such as with music. I remember I worked with this one woman, and she actually channeled Bach and was able to write the most incredible music. It was so touching, and it changed her whole musical career. Also an artist, I worked with this one artist that I'm thinking of, and she was able to take her art to a whole higher level and really get it into some very, very big art shows and art galleries, and taking it around to many, many different places. So she got a little freer with her inspiration. It came through her. She became a vehicle for the divine, for that divine. It's almost as though she became the canvas for the art to come through, and then it would go out onto the canvas. So it can happen in many different ways. Once you make that soul connection, you can use it with music, writing, drawing, healing. I love these healing hands. You can see the light coming through. And of course with channeling, that's and channeling can happen in many different ways. Sometimes, it's conscious channeling, semi-conscious channeling, or unconscious channeling, but definitely that opening of the energy to higher dimensions. I love this guy. His name is Dr. John Demartini, and if you haven't read any of his material, I want to invite you to. Very positive, very uplifting, and I heard him say once that one of the goals in life is to have the voice on the inside become louder than all the other voices on the outside. So really, in being a psychic, that's what you have to do too, is you let go of all the input, all the thoughts, all the ideas, and you listen to that still small voice, but that very clear voice within, the voice of the soul, the voice of the higher self, the voice of your truest being, the voice of your guides. And that becomes very, very loud. And so when you're listening to the voice on the inside, you're not so concerned with what people are saying on the outside or how you're looking on the outside, because you're so connected in there, in that place of the heart. So who is psychic and who can channel? Everyone is psychic. Isn't that amazing? We are all psychic. We're all wired to be psychic. Some of us use it and some of us don't. Some of us use a tiny capacity and some of us use a great capacity. But we all have the ability to be psychic. There are things that can cut it off. Stress can cut it off. Drugs, alcohol can cut it off. A closed mind can cut it off. Trauma can cut it off. But we are psychic. We're born psychic. We've learned to ignore it. It hasn't really been developed in our school system. It hasn't really been developed in terms of something that's really valued in the world and in life. And so it often lays dormant. So this class is about awakening our psychic abilities. It's not gifting them to you. You're already gifted. It's awakening. It was like waking a sleeping kitty cat and saying, "Wake up, kitty. Let's hear you purr. Let's really let your energy come alive." So it's the reactivation of your psychic ability, which for some of us we've had many, many, many different lifetimes where we've already accessed our psychic ability and we're just doing it again, getting it again. Intuition is the language of the soul that connects you to your deepest, most pure self. So even if you're one of those people that says, "Yeah, but I remember a time when I listened to my intuition and something happened and it didn't turn out the way I wanted." Sometimes those things happen to teach you. So I want to encourage you, even if you've had at some point in time felt that your intuition steered you down the wrong road, there's never really any wrong roads. And we learn and we grow. And sometimes we learn exactly what we want by finding out there's something that we don't want. Here's good old Albert Einstein. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift. A gift, a sacred gift. And the rational mind is a faithful servant. So we train the mind, we train the brain. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. This was written years and years ago, but how deeply profound. So we are now entering an era where people are waking up to their intuitive abilities. They're waking up to their higher selves. They're waking up to their gifts that they chose before they came in. And as we support one another, if you want to invite somebody to do the class with you, as we support one another and help one another, the whole world changes. What are some of the benefits of developing your psychic abilities? Well, I can say through the many, many hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of students that I've taught that I have seen them live more meaningful and purposeful and fulfilling lives. That sometimes they're just on the fence and they know what they need to do with their life, but they're not doing it. And then they take this course and they get so in touch with their deepest, highest wisdom and guidance that they make those choices. They get the courage and the discipline and the follow-through to make those changes and to be more successful in life, more creative, more empowered, more loving, more connected, or even to move from one place to another. So you may find when you sign up for a class in intuitive development and you really start listening to your psychic messages that you need to change something. Sometimes you have to change something on the inside, and sometimes you have to change something on the outside, and that's okay. But you will feel more empowered and balanced, creative, and joyous. Look at this girl in the field. Her connection to the universal all. And that's what we're going to be learning about. And you will be guided in your creativity, your relationships, your finances, your health, your spiritual awareness, and satisfying work and career. So once your third eye is open, activated, and you are connected, your heart is open and activated, your crown chakra is connected to your higher self, and all of your being is online and on board and you're present, things can happen really, really fast. All kinds of changes, all kinds of miraculous things can happen. Connections, allies, opportunities. And it's about opening to your psychic abilities. As I said, they're natural, they're there, and we're going to find out about them. More benefits are you will actually have psychic protection. So sometimes people they're not even aware that they're picking up psychic energy from other people. You will, through this course, learn about picking up other people's energy, sending it back to them, clearing your energy field, shielding your energy field, taking care of your own energetic space. I find that a lot of students come to me who are already very empathetic, already very open, and what they need to learn is how do they put a filter up? How do they learn to protect themselves and their beautiful, sensitive, psychic selves from the bombardment of energy and information that's coming in. So we will learn about that. We will also learn about developing a higher level of love. I like to imagine that the heart, instead of being this size, grows to be like the universal heart, that we end up connecting with the heart of the divine. The way that we know that we're connecting with the heart of the divine is it's non-judgmental, it's open, accepting, and there's always, it feels as though there's a pure transmission. We will have faster and clearer decision making. I have this one friend who's a Libra, and I always make fun of him because, you know, decisions back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and I always say, I'm so glad I'm not a Libra, and I have to, sorry all you Libras, look at all the positive and the negative and the pluses and the minuses. When you're in touch with your intuition, decisions can happen just like that. You get clear guidance and you follow through, and the more that you get clear guidance and you follow through and you see the good things that can happen, it encourages you and supports you in doing that even faster and clearer and changing your life. You will learn to see beneath the surface, beyond the words, to the truth. So somebody may be saying one thing to you, but your whole gut and body is feeling something completely different. What's that called? Somebody puts up a smoke screen. You'll be able to see through the smoke screen to the essence, the purest essence of that person. And you'll be able to know when you need to shield yourself if somebody's psychically attacking, or if somebody's even just being a psychic vampire, that feeling of somebody sucking your energy rather than, they're not giving you negative energy, but they're kind of sucking your energy away. We will learn about taking care and being responsible for our psychic beings and feeling happy and being able to go through the world protected and open and safe and happy. You will actually get to realize your dreams. If you really stay on this path committed to your higher self wants you to have your dreams. And it takes responsibility and discipline, practice, openness, and faith, and love. And all of this will come through taking the class. And you will learn about feeling connected to the invisible realm of helpers and light beings. There are so many beings of light who are helping us. So many angels, archangels, ascended master teachers, loved ones on the other side that all really, really, really want to help us. And we're going to be learning about tuning into them, getting their help, and so we don't have to do things alone. This is TERRA SONORA. I'm very happy to introduce her to you. She is also a channel, and I saw her article in a Sedona Journal magazine many, many years ago called What is Channeling? And I want to invite you to go to her website, www.angelchannel.com, and look at her information and read the entire article. This is just the highlights from the article. The ability to quiet the busy mind, that's channeling, to quiet the busy mind. When we quiet the mind, what remains? Attune to the higher vibrational frequency of the celestial and angelic realms. Think about that just for a minute, the celestial realms, the angelic realms. Don't you just kind of want to hear little bells ringing and harps playing and that feeling of love? And bringing through images of love and wisdom from spirit, guides, angels, the higher self, the God self, of a pure and truthful nature. So you'll know that the information that you're receiving and that you're transmitting to someone is of that caliber and that quality if it has these aspects to it, if it feels loving and wise, if it feels pure and truthful. That's the vibration that we want to tune into. That's the vibration that I'm going to be teaching you how to tune into, so that you don't get stuck in any kind of lower levels where there's maybe fear or doubt or confusion. We'll be bypassing all of those levels. So in terms of channeling, and some people say, well, I just want to be psychic, but if we can just sort of intermix those two terms a little bit, it is a little different, psychic and channeling. But because I can be psychic all day long, every day. But channeling, I'm going into a deeper, my brain waves are actually changing into a lower, softer, it's a faster frequency, but it's a more open state of being. So that's when I tune into some of these 1 through 9, my higher self, my spirit guides, God, the universal life force, the ascended masters, the loved ones who have passed, guardian angels, archangels, and power animals. Now, again, throughout the day, I can be psychic. I can get a message or information about something that's happening or that's going to happen, or a message for someone else, or a sense of, oh, I need to go do this, or I have to remember that. But the actual channeling is a little bit different in terms of the energy. And you can see this woman holding the light, and her guardian angel is behind her. And she's in what I call a receptive mode. Her heart is open, her hands are receiving, and she's allowing the energy of that angel to come into her field. So a lot of times, and especially if you live in a city where there's a lot of people, a lot of activity, a lot of noise, you get very, very, very guarded and very, very shielded, and you have to. Or if you work in a prison, or if you work in an environment where it's tough, maybe a health center, or you're a nurse in a hospital, and you have to kind of toughen yourself up to deal with some of the pain and suffering that you see. So we're going to learn about how do we open and shield at the same time, and take care of ourselves and receive, and not give up our power, but actually merge our power. Sort of the idea of, if you take one candle alone and you think of how much light that is, and then you add another, it adds more light to the room. And if you add 10 more or 100 more candles, think of how much brighter it is. And that's kind of what happens when we tune in and we allow our guides and angels and this wonderful universal life force to fill us and to nourish us. We are going to be looking at facing fears and blockages, and I would like you to, in your journal, wherever that is right now, to write down a fear that you have towards developing your psychic and intuitive ability. And sometimes these fears are very, very deep. You may have had a negative experience. You may have had a past lifetime where you were traumatized due to your psychic abilities. You may have somebody in your life that thinks it's not a healthy, wholesome thing to do. You may have opened at one point and something a little scary may have happened. So we all have different experiences and places that we're coming from. But I'd like you right now, just in this moment in time, to go in your heart and to see if there's any time that you can recall that a fear came up about opening. And sometimes it's a fear about being successful. It's, oh, if I really tune in and I really start sharing, my life has to change. I can't keep working at the supermarket checking out groceries. I'm going to actually have to get responsible and set up my own business. And, those types of areas and aspects as well. So it's not just about the little changes. Sometimes when you really open to your psychic abilities, big changes happen. I remember this one woman, she was in a class and she was in a relationship. And when she came and we shared, we always had a sharing time at the beginning of the class, I could tell she was really unhappy in that relationship. Well, it turns out by the end of the class, I think at that point in time I was doing 12-week classes and then I cut them back to 10. So that's a good number of months, right? She was ready to leave that relationship and move on. She went back to school. She got her master's degree. And now she's working, teaching children, and she's really, really happy. And she's doing intuitive work as well. So sometimes we have to make changes. So I love that waterfall. The waterfall is just going downhill, washing away any fears. So just write down whatever that fear was. We're going to hopefully be working on it in the different classes as we go along. So I want to invite you before each of these classes that you do with me, and also when you're going to be doing your homework exercises, that you please take the time before the class to eat lightly just a little bit so that you're grounded. Sometimes people open up so much in the upper chakras and they're completely out of touch with their lower chakras. They can't feel their bodies. They're not grounded. They do really spacey things. They forget things. They walk into things. You got to get grounded. So my belief is that as we open up our upper chakras, if we also open up our lower chakras and get really rooted and grounded, then more information can come in. So I do like to recommend just eating lightly so that you're enough present in your body, and drinking lots and lots of water. And you will see me drinking water throughout the class. Water is kind of a conduit for psychic information and for psychic energy to move through. So when we drink, we're actually lifting our vibration. Our bodies are mostly water. I know they look so solid, but the truth is they're mostly water. And then when we're drinking, we're shifting our vibration to be more receptive and open. And if you think about the water element being sort of feminine and emotional and intuitive, I want you to wear loose, comfortable clothing that you can breathe in. Cotton is really best, and something that your stomach can really expand, because when you're bringing in the energy from these other dimensions, it almost feels as though you're making your body bigger to bring in that energy. So you want to have clothing on that is comfortable. No tight belts, no polyester that's going to constrict you. Clothing that you can feel really comfortable in. This is a reminder to have pen and paper or a journal. You can have a special little journal that you're writing in, or just a pad of paper that you can take notes about your progress, about your insights, about the things that come to you in the meditations, and that this can be your log of spiritual growth. Also, I want to invite you to have a special item. This could be an item that goes on your altar. It could be like a crystal, or a little special stone, a shawl, a scarf, a mala bead, a special piece of jewelry, or even just a tiny little, I'll just show you a little example. Here's a little Mother Mary statue, just something like that. And let's say that she's little enough she could fit in my pocket if I needed her to. The reason for this, the reason we do this, is we want to do everything we can to make it as easy as possible to enter into that altered state. So our bodies get very conditioned. Bodies, they react just like Pavlov's dog. When you open the refrigerator, your stomach goes, oh, food, yay. And so when we have a special item, and I always worked with a shawl for many, many, many years. It was a special shawl that I wore, that I picked out the threads, and I prayed and meditated over it, and I only wore it for channeling. I never wore it out, and I only wore it for meditation. And it built up lots and lots of energy, and I still have it, but I only save it for my very, very special occasions now. But there's a special item that's calling to you, and you may already know what it is. Perhaps it's a piece of jewelry or a statue or a stone, a special type of a stone, an andara crystal or a diamond or something that's calling to you, that when you hold it, you infuse it with your energy, and it's sort of like an anchor. It anchors you in to your body, brings you back to yourself so that you can be connected and you can go up and out and then come back in. And always, always, we have got to turn off our cell phones, turn the button off, just disconnect from the cell phone. Now, when you're going to be doing these practices, I really want you to be in a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. And people choose some of the funniest quiet places. Some people sit outside. Some people sit in a little tent. Some people sit on their bed, which I don't recommend, but if it's the only place you have, it's okay. The reason I don't recommend the bed for meditating is a lot of times people fall asleep, and there's other energy that goes on in the bed, sleeping, dreaming, sex. And it's better for meditation to have the purest environment. So I do encourage you to get a space in your house that's just for you and just for your psychic work. So it could be a little altar with a table, with a candle, with flowers, with pictures, maybe with a little affirmation, even a little rose. Here's some rose spritz. I'm going to spray some. And just that rose spritz, as I spray it, it brings me into a garden. And when I go into a garden, I feel very relaxed and open. So that's what we want to do, is we want to get into this place of safety and openness for psychic work. And so think about where you can have your special space. I always kid people that my relationship with my guides is my longest committed relationship. And it's true. It's been over 25 years, since 1988. So I would say that I've made a commitment to them and they've made a commitment to me, and you can have that type of relationship with your guides and higher self as well. Any good relationship has to have a certain amount of quality time, and quality time only happens when there's a certain assigned amount of quantity of time. So you don't get quality time in just a moment. The quality time will come as you put in a regular amount of time. So I want to encourage you, with your relationship with your higher self and guides, to spend at least 30 minutes a day connecting. That can be through prayer, that can be through visualizing, that can be through opening, that can be through doing the channeling practice, through meditating, really listening and focusing. And then in terms of connecting, we want to use our body as a tool for feeling the energy of our guides and higher self. So what does our body feel like when we invite in that higher presence? And what do our emotions, what happens with our emotions? And usually for me, when I'm going to be doing a reading, I feel my emotions just go into this very neutral, open, soft place. And I feel like everything's okay. Everything's going to work out, whatever's going on. And then the other thing is to have the third eye, which is right between the other two eyes, to focus your attention on the third eye area and picture it opening up, so that you actually see your third eye opening up, and then looking around and just feeling grateful for that. Commitment. We're going to be talking about commitment in a little bit in terms of making a commitment, but it does make a difference when you make a commitment to be a clear channel and to open up. Amazing things happen, I can promise you. And trusting, this is about trusting yourself. trusting your guides, and trusting other people, and trusting me as your teacher, that I will be bringing you down the road for your highest and best interest, that your higher self has your back and wants good things for you, that the people that you'll be working with are opening to trust you. So there's a lot of different elements of trust in the psychic realm, and we will be strengthening our muscles that way. Just as when you go to the gym and you want to get strong upper body, you work with the weights and the pulleys and you get really strong. Well, trust is a muscle that gets developed, and it gets developed through the practice that we do. So we will be working with practicing. And then openness and receptivity. Openness. There's a song about that. I am opening up in sweet surrender. Can you just feel that? I am opening up in sweet surrender. And feel your heart opening, that receptivity, that there's nowhere to go, there's nothing to do other than to just relax. Just breathe. Just open. Receptivity. And here's this poem. It's by W.H. Murray from the Scottish Himalayan Expedition, and it ends with a quote from Goethe. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness concerning all acts of initiative and creation. There is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. Think about this as I'm reading it in terms of your commitment to your higher self, your commitment to your spiritual path, your commitment to meditating, your commitment to connecting with your guides. Until one is committed, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. Isn't that wonderful? Until one is committed, a whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which no man could have dreamed would have come his way. I have learned a deep respect for one of Goethe's couplets. Here it is. Whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Genius, power, and magic. So that's really what you're here for today, and we're going to be tapping into that more and more, your higher self wanting you to connect in that way. Here's some of the qualities that we're going to be developing along the way as we look at certain skills and abilities. And let's look at the sign on the left. It says, an ethical life is built of integrity, honesty, kindness, decency, truth, belief in truth, justice, honor, respect, love, compassion, and to make life better, love together, and I can't read that one word, working together, worthiness. But on the right we have compassion. That's really important when you're doing readings for people and for yourself, to be compassionate with yourself, to have integrity, to do what is right, to have truth, to speak the truth when you receive it, to take responsibility for yourself and for your psychic space and for helping others, to have discipline, to learn how do we discipline ourselves so that we can really develop the skill, and it's not just a haphazard. If you were learning how to ride a horse, you would learn the discipline of holding with the knees and pointing the toes a certain way, holding the spine up, the arms, all these different ways that you would have to have a good seat in order to not fall off the horse. Well, there's a certain discipline that comes from being a really good psychic, and we will be talking about that. Courage. The more you trust, the more trustworthy you become, the more that you're able to trust. So it just grows exponentially. The more you trust and trust the messages you're getting and share, the more you see the truth in them and the more you will trust in the future. And then professionalism that's really about keeping people's information confidential and not sharing who you're doing readings for or what the content is or making any judgments about any of that. Being able to be the clear vehicle and vessel. So here's a cute little at-home altar. You can see again there's a flower. This one has sort of a rattle there as well, which is nice. And pictures inspirational quotes. So these are some of the elements of creating an altar, which I'd like you as your homework to set up an altar in your home, or it could be outdoors under a tree or in a special little room. And the altar could contain a candle, a flower, an inspirational picture, a spritzer of rose, lavender, or sage. You could also have a special shawl or a scarf or a mala, a special stone or crystal that is with you, and also to smudge with sage or clear with salt water. These are taught in later classes, but you can definitely, if you'd like, if the energy is not feeling clear in a room and you want to clear it out so that you can bring your energy in. It's very simple. Start in the heart, bring your awareness and attention into the heart, and then psychically go to wherever that space is that you want to clear. Along with preparing your space, there's a few things I'd like you to check on. One is check your environment. When I was doing my pre-webinar sound check, one of the people listening said, "I can hear a ticking." Well, sure enough, I had the clock and I hadn't even been noticing the ticking, but for them, they noticed the ticking, and that, even though it's very little, it could draw an individual out from themselves into the external world instead of inward, focusing on the messages that are coming. So you want to take inventory of your environment. What's the temperature? Are you too hot? Are you cold? Do you need to move to another room? Do you need to adjust? The other thing is you want to look at the airflow, the sound in the room, privacy. Are you in a quiet place where you're not going to get disturbed? When I started doing this work, I still had 4 children at home, and I used to light a candle and put my shawl on, and then they would know, don't bother Mom when she's sitting at her little altar with the shawl on. Can you tell your roommates, this is your quiet time? Every day from 7 to 8, you'd like it to be kind of quiet. So is there a way that you can set some boundaries for yourself? The other thing is to be able to sit comfortably. I like to encourage people to sit in a straight back chair, or to sit on sort of a zafu pillow on the floor, or they make these meditation chairs that you can sit in, but where your spine is nice and straight. When the spine is straight, the energy can go up real easily, and it makes it much, much easier. So part of preparing yourself is drinking water, like I've been doing, and not taking drugs, alcohol, or smoking. If you are taking this course, please do not have in your system at any point in time alcohol, drugs, and cigarettes. People say, yeah, but cigarettes are okay, and a lot of psychics do smoke. I don't consider those to be the healthiest psychics because they're disconnecting from their bodies, there's chemicals in cigarettes. So I would recommend, if you cannot do that, that is what's better for your receiving information in a very clear fashion. Your body needs to be rested. If your energy level, like we're going to do this, is your energy level, where is it, between 1 and 10? And if it's below 7, it's not the best time for you to be doing psychic work. You really want to get your energy level up to be doing that type of work so that you're a clear channel. And then it's always good to start with a silent meditation and a prayer. A silent meditation and a prayer. The silent meditation is about going to that inner world, the inside. And the prayer, they say meditation is where we listen to God or our higher self, and prayer is where we talk to God or our higher self. So those are both really important aspects. Let's think about, though, what your particular style of receiving information is, because there's information bombarding us all the time from everywhere. And what is your particular style? Are you auditory? Are you visual? Are you kinesthetic? Do you get information through your thoughts? So there's actually a test that I'm going to recommend to you, but I want you to just think about these different methods. Clairaudient, which means clear hearing. Clairvoyant, clear seeing. Kinesthetic, clear feeling. You feel that in your whole body. That's clairsentient. And then claircognizant, which means clear knowing. Your mind has an understanding. You're not quite sure where that understanding came from, but the understanding is there. This book right here is from Doreen Virtue, and if you have not read this book, I do want to highly recommend it to you. It's called Divine Guidance, and there's a tremendous amount of information, but there's a quiz in here on your divine communication style, and I'd like you to do that quiz before our next class and see, are you clairaudient, are you clairvoyant, are you claircognizant, see which method is yours, so that during the course of our classes together you can actually remediate the other areas. Okay, here's a little exercise, and this is going to help you to know in terms of how do you receive information. How do you really? So just let your body relax. Nice deep breaths in. Breathing in peace. And see what animal comes to mind. Oh! So funny. I said what animal, and all of a sudden I heard a cat. And that's in my backyard. So maybe somebody got a cat. What did you get? Did you see it? Did you hear it? Did you feel it? What animal was it? Now, if you were a color, what would you be? And this isn't your favorite color. What I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes, and I want to see you. I want you to actually feel what color would you be if you were a color. And see what color comes, and see if you feel it, or you taste it, or you smell it, or how does that color come? Because this is going to give you some indications about how you receive information. And the next is, if you were a flower, what would you be? And again, remember, this is your intuitive information, and you're not making it happen, you're just allowing it. So imagine that your mind is like a whiteboard and you're just wiping it clean. And just see what flower comes, what picture you get. Okay. So that's a very simple way to just tune in. Hi. To your intuition. Sorry. Lay down. So now we're going to look at your energy level, and it goes from 1 to 10, and 1 is very, very low, and 10 is very, very high. If your energy is less than 7, remember, you're not going to be doing psychic work. That's not a good idea to do psychic work if your energy is less than 7, okay? So just close your eyes and imagine that you have a ruler or a thermometer, and ask your higher self right now in this moment, what is your energy level? And see what number you get. And see if you actually see the number, or if you see 5 of something, or if you see the thermometer going up, or if you see a mark on the ruler. How did you get that information? Okay. So that's a little tool that you can use throughout your day, just checking in. How's my energy level right now? Because if your energy level is low, there's things that you can do to lift it up. Sometimes you have to just say, I'm awake, alive, alert, and enthusiastic. I'm awake, alive, alert, and enthusiastic. Do a little song, or move your body, or drink some more water, or take a walk and get your energy level up. Sometimes between clients, I even actually take a drink of water, I go outside and I put my hands up to the sun just like this, and I say, fill me up with light, pour me out as love. Fill me up with light, pour me out as love. And I let the sun energize me. Now this tool is a really important one when we're doing psychic work and meditation, and it's creating an inner sanctuary. And I love that picture of the hammock and that feeling of relaxing. So in your mind's eye, I want to invite you right now to just go inside, to close your eyes and to go inside. And to picture a place, and this may be a place that you remember that you've been to in nature, by the beach or in the woods or in your yard or in a garden. but it's a place that feels very, very safe and very, very comfortable. And when you go there, you feel your body slowing down and you feel a sense of peacefulness. So just right now, I want to invite you to go to your inner sanctuary. So when I go to my inner sanctuary, it feels as though my consciousness goes up and out of my head and over to the left. And I actually am. It's as though I'm suspended in this hammock and I'm just being cradled in love. And that's the feeling that I want you to have, that you don't have a care in the world, that you're relaxed and happy and letting go. Okay? Now here's a psychic tool that I got many, many, many years ago, and many people have, used this over the years, and it's called the Rose of Protection. And this is a very simple one to use when you feel like you're taking on somebody else's energy, or there's psychic energy coming at you and you don't want to take it on. So for this particular tool, what you do is you picture in front of your heart a beautiful rose, and it can be any color at all that you like. It can be a long stem or short. It can be very scented. It can be purple, white, red, yellow, orange. So you put that rose in front of your heart, and then you imagine that the rose acts sort of like a sponge, that it absorbs any negativity that's around you, that it just goes right into the rose. And then when the rose feels like it's kind of full, you explode it into light. You just like dissolve it into light. And then you put another rose there. And this tool works really, really well with people that you kind of have an emotional charge with, that when you see them, you might feel like you're losing your center or something like that. This is when you would use this rose, okay? But you always want to remember to put it back to replace it. So you see that big ear there, and that ear is, I always ask my students, how would your family, your co-workers, your friends describe your listening skills and abilities? Do they say that you listen, or do they say that you're not really listening? Because if you're not listening to the people in your life, you're probably not really going to be listening to your guides either. So I want to invite you to think about, between this week and next week when we come back together, how are you listening to the people in your life? Are you listening with an open heart? Are you listening with an open mind? Are you being present and aware? Are you practicing active listening? And active listening is when you're able to say back to the person what they said. They know you're really listening because you can actually repeat back what they said to you. So I want you to practice that this week, listening and being present, and practice active listening and reflecting back to other people so that you can listen when your guides talk to you, that will be very clear information. And here's a good old favorite. Any psychic school will teach you about cord cutting, and I just want to throw that out in the very first class because we don't want to take on anybody else's energy. It's enough to handle your own energy in your own body, and if you start trying to take on other people's energy, it gets to be too much for your system to handle. So I'd like you to imagine, just close your eyes for a second and go in your heart and just tune into your physical body and see if there's a psychic cord going to anybody that you know or love, or even somebody that you don't really know very much or care too much for, but you might have a psychic cord to. And the way that you'll know it is you'll just sort of feel an energy going out, and then you might even see a cord. This is a red cord. This is a small pair of scissors. Sometimes if you're in a tough situation at work or in a relationship or with a neighbor or something, you might have a larger cord. I've seen cords as big as this, like huge, almost cable type cords, where people have to use these really big etheric scissors to cut them. So just see if there's anybody that you have a cord to, and that your higher self would like you to cut right now. So that happens with permission. That's what you're doing, is you're giving that person back their energy. You're saying, you know, I took your energy on into my system, but I don't want it anymore. I'm going to release it and give it back to you. And I'm going to take my energy back. And sometimes it's for people that we're caring for. It could be for you're caring for your mother, or you're caring for a brother, or you're caring for a child, or, you know, a friend. So it's okay to care for them, but we don't want to energetically take on their burdens. So in this way, just imagine cords and picture. If it might be huge etheric scissors, it might be a chainsaw, it might be wire cutters, it might be just scissors like this. But picture the cord cutting. So the way that I do this is on the count of 3, I'm going to clap my hands really loudly, and then just cut the cord. And give that person back their energy and pull your energy back in. 1, 2, 3. And then what happens is you want to fill your body with light, so that wherever that cord was, that you're actually now filling that area with light. So picture that, if it's your heart, picture that area being filled with your own light and your own life force energy. Giving them back their energy, taking your energy back, and feeling aligned. Okay, this tool right here, the grounding and infinity loop, this is a really, really important tool for you to do before you do the channeling exercise. You can actually do this tool throughout the day. I like to do it when I'm walking. I walk every morning and every evening, and I like to do it outside where I'm under the sky and I can stretch my arm up really high. And that's the top of the figure 8, and then I bring that infinite love, which I picture this huge treasure chest of love, up really, really high, and I bring that love down through the side of the figure 8 and into my heart, and then I push that love all the way down to the center of the earth, and that's the bottom of the figure 8. And then I pull up that rooted and grounded energy, that really strong, solid, rooted and grounded energy, and I bring that up into my heart. And then I mix those two energies so that I am one with all the love in the universe, and I am rooted and grounded. And I am one with all the love in the universe, and I am rooted and grounded. And I do that 3 times. I am one with all the love in the universe, and I am rooted and grounded. My heart is in the center of the 8. Now the other thing that I do is I add a color with each part of the loop. So for the top part, and you can picture what color you want to use for the top part of your loop, and then you bring that color into your heart, and then you bring it down to the center of the earth, and then the color changes to that rooted and grounded color, and then you bring that color up, and then you mix them together in your heart. So let's say you have a beautiful golden light up above, and then you have a beautiful green color from below, and you mix them together. And then sort of just, some of you may remember, if you're old enough, Hot Wheels, little cars that go around a track. That's what you want to do, is you want to get that energy going around the track just like that. Okay? So that your energy is moving. This is called running your energy and getting grounded. And this tool, isn't that a cute little box? It's called the thought box, and you can do this anywhere. So if you're in class, or taking a class, or you're at your job and you find your mind sort of going to the things you have to do after work, or you're getting ready to meditate, picture a box under your chair or right behind you if you're sitting on the floor, and then open the box. So you would untie the ribbon, you'd open the box, and you'd say, okay, right now I'm going to put all my thoughts in there. I'm going to put my thoughts about what I have to do later. I'm going to put my thoughts about my body. I'm going to put my thoughts about any emotions that are happening. And then you put the lid on the box and tie it up, and you say to the thoughts, you're not forgotten. I'm just going to tend to you later. Now is not the time. Then what you do is you let go of all your expectations about the future and all your thoughts about the past, and you become very, very present. And then you're ready to do psychic work. It's we're almost ready to go into our meditation, but before we do, I want to let you know that I always do a prayer of protection before I do any channeling or psychic work. And the prayer of protection I did receive from Ann Cataldo many, many years ago. She's now on the other side working with me. I'm going to be sharing her prayer with you, but if that's not the prayer that resonates with you and you have your very own special prayer that you're working with, please continue to work with that prayer. These are the main 4 elements that I would like for you to have somehow interwoven into a prayer. You may write your own prayer if you don't want to use the one that I'm sharing with you. The 4 main points are: 1, calling on assistance from higher beings of light. That can also be calling on assistance from the highest, most loving part of yourself, from your guardian angels, from ascended master teachers, from however that fits for you, God, universal self. You want to enter a place of unconditional love. Please don't ever do a psychic reading or a channeling for anyone unless you're in a place of love. If you're not in a place of love, just stop and center and find that place first, and then you can begin. So you want that energy of love, and then you want to recite the prayer, and I like it to have an element of lifting beyond earth, that feeling of getting out of the mouse's little perspective. You know how the little mouse is stuck in the maze and sees a lot of dead ends and kind of gets confused, but the hawk, that beautiful hawk, flies above and is able to see the way out and the solutions and the answers, lifting above the earth into divine truth. And then ask for that which is most needed to be brought forth. So for each person that I do a reading for, or a group that I'm working with, I always ask that I am the vessel to bring forth this infinite love, this light, this truth, this healing, and this blessing, that I get to be the vehicle for that. I don't take credit for it. I just get to be the vehicle for that. So here's the prayer of protection, and again, I will cue this up on the slideshow so that you can actually go back and look at it or print it out if you like. The prayer of protection. Beloved Mother, Father God, Infinite Spirit, I or we, and it depends if you're working alone or if you're working with a client, come to you in love. I ask to be filled, surrounded, and protected by the light of the Holy Spirit. I ask to lift beyond earth into areas of absolute truth. I ask that that which is most needed by these souls be brought forth in this time. I ask to be a clear, clear channel for God's love, light, truth, healing, and blessing. I or we stand believing. Thank you, Mother, Father God, Infinite Spirit. So you give thanks that just as you speak the prayer, you already know that so it is, that you are protected. Sacred space. We have just entered between the worlds into sacred space. Okay, we're going to do a little guided meditation, and I just want to invite you to get comfortable where you're sitting, to really just relax. Take a deep breath. Bucky likes to bark at the kitties. I'm sorry. That's part of his job in life. But I'm trying to teach him not to. Anyway, it's the beauty of being able to work in my office here. Anyway, alright, so take a deep breath in. And just allow every sound that you hear around you, rather than taking you out, to actually help carry you deeper inside. So that every sound that you hear is a vehicle for bringing you into your heart. I love this picture of the individual sitting there on the water with the clouds. That feeling of there could be all these people and all this activity around you, but for right now, just let yourself be very still and very quiet. Allow your body to relax. I'm going to go ahead and shut these windows. And when you breathe in, breathe all the way down into your belly. Nice deep belly breath. Breathing in peace. Breathing out. Breathing in peace. Breathing out any tightness. Just relaxing. Allowing yourself this special time to go within. I'd like you now to call on your special guardian angel to be here with you, to join you, protecting you. If you have any loved ones on the other side of life that you might want to join you in the room, just energetically sharing their love. When you love someone, the love goes on forever and ever and ever. So just feel their love. They love it when we meditate. They love it when we let go of the day-to-day things of life and enter into the invisible realm, the spiritual realm, that spiritual dimension of being. So just allow yourself to relax, letting go, going deeper and deeper inside. Bring the relaxation all the way down to your toes, feeling your feet relaxing, your legs, your hips, all your internal organs just relaxing and opening and letting go. There's a great meditation where you invite each of the cells in your body to smile, and I want you to just invite your body to smile on the inside. Your body's happy when you're meditating and relaxing. Just allow that to be. And now I want you to imagine that right on the top of your head there's a little string, and it's tied to your crown chakra, and the little string just pulls your spine up very, very straight. So you don't have to really work at it. That invisible string is just pulling your spine up, your rib cage is lifting, your shoulders are going back, and you're just opening to more life force coming into your body. You're moving more into your sovereign, sort of full, higher self stance. Now from your hip area, I want you to imagine that just as a tree has roots that go down to the center of the earth, I want you to actually picture that you have roots that are going down through the chair that you're sitting in, or the pillow, or a place on the floor or the bed, and it's going all the way down to the very center of the earth. And just imagine that at the center of the earth there's a huge big crystal, and your roots are going down and they're wrapping themselves around this big crystal so that you're really rooted and grounded. And now from your crown chakra, envision a shaft of light, either golden or white light, just going up and connecting up with that infinite love above, so that you're actually, it feels as though you're in a tube of light, and nothing but light can come to you, and nothing but light can be here. And feel a sense of safety in this light body, in this place where you are immersed in light. Let yourself bring that light into every cell of your being, relaxing and opening, letting go, trusting. Now I want you to call on your ascended master teacher guides to just be here as well, and allow yourself to feel the love of all the invisible help that you have. And even if you haven't personally met your guide yet, or had an encounter with some of these other beings of light, they're already there. And because you've signed up for this class, you're ready to connect with them. So just imagine that right up there on the ceiling of the room, there's all these loving, loving beings of light. And they're so happy that you're opening. And they're so happy. It's like a whole council of beings of love and light to serve you. And now on the exhale, just let go of any thoughts in the mind, letting the mind become very quiet, very still. Sort of like the space between words gets bigger, and there's an openness and a relaxation. And it feels so good to just relax and let go. Now focus on your heart area and imagine that your heart is vibrating at kind of like at its normal frequency, but that just as you focus on your heart and you look at your heart, you feel your heart energy getting bigger, almost as though there's a ball of light in your heart, and every time you look at it and focus at it, it gets larger and brighter and bigger and fills your whole auric field so that you become this beautiful heart light. And feel your hand chakras opening. The hands are directly connected to the heart. That's how a lot of healing happens. The heart gets activated and the healing comes through the hands. So just allow that to happen very easily, the hand chakras vibrating. And if you want to feel the energy in your hands, you can even rub them together. And then feel that energy in your hands. That's universal life force energy. And place one hand on top of your head and one at the first chakra, right at the base of the spine in the front. And just balance your energy. Just ask your higher self to balance your energy. And that grounding core that you have, you can use that to release anything that's in the way of you receiving your highest guidance and wisdom. Just flushing it away, allowing it to go down, down, down to the center of the earth and be transmuted into light. And now as you remove your hand from your crown chakra is even more ready and available to connect with your guides and higher self. Now I'd like you to imagine that you're going into your inner sanctuary again, that special place where you can relax. And as you relax and let go, for it's in the letting go of control and letting go of needing to know and letting go of being right and letting go of having any answers. It's in that beingness that you connect with your intuitive self. Let the music carry you into the vibration of your highest self. Now I'd like you to invite the one guide that you're going to be working with first, and there'll probably be many different guides that you'll be working with, but usually there's one main guide that's been waiting to work with you. And I want you to just simply invite the energy of that beautiful being of light right up to the ceiling of the room, to just allow their energy to be there. And you may have already connected with them in another way or in another class or another time. But just invite them back in, right up there on the ceiling. And now ask them to bring their energy right to the top of your auric field. So it's not in your aura, but it's right at the edge of your aura. Because what we want to do is we want to work with this guide on respecting your space, so that it's by invitation only that your guide merges with you. So just ask your guide to bring their energy right to the edge of your aura, and then feel that. Feel that love, that loving presence. And you may see an image and you may not. You may just feel an energy, a familiarity. And now ask your guide to lift back up, giving you space, and then feel the difference when you just have your own auric field and your own space around you. This is really important. so that you can always come back to your own pure psychic space. Okay, now ask your guide to come again right to the edge of your aura and feel their energy. Just feel their energy. Okay, now if you would like to, I'd like to invite you to ask your guide to merge their energy with yours in your auric field, to actually invite them to come in and allow yourself to just relax and immerse in their loving, beautiful, positive, pure energy of light. And notice if you see anything in your third eye. Notice if you hear anything. Notice if you feel anything in your heart. Open to the feeling of not having to do this spiritual path alone, that there's help and assistance from your higher self. Just keep opening and allow their energy to just merge with yours very harmoniously. If it feels as though their energy is too much, you can ask them to back up and move back a little bit and give you a little more space. The way that you'll know if it feels like it's too much is if you feel a little headachy or dizzy or your energy feels a little off, just ask them to back up. If in any way it doesn't feel right, you can always say, "Are you a being of light?" And if you do not get an absolute yes, then you can ask them to leave your environment. But because we're working with a vibration of light, almost always beings of light come to help us. Because that's who you are. So letting them work with your energy in your body and seeing if there's anything that they need to adjust in terms of you being able to really open to your psychic and intuitive information and energy. Notice your throat chakra, since we'll be communicating from the throat chakra. How does your throat feel with their energy in there? Do they need to open that up a little bit? Do they need to balance that out some? How does your third eye feel? Perhaps they're working with balancing that. Are you really nice and rooted and grounded? Let them work with that as well if they need to. Just allow them to come in to work with you. Now imagine that they're actually placing their hand upon your heart. And there's one thing that they want to tell you before they leave today about you and them working together in this opening to channel. There's one word or picture, or sometimes even they show you a little symbol that they want you to have. And then just thank them for whatever that was that they wanted you to know. And keep it in mind because you're going to be writing it down. And then invite them to come up out of your auric field, right to the edge of your aura, right up there. And then ask them to leave your auric field for now. Let them know that we're going to be working together and that you'll be inviting them in again in a much more specific way and opening the doors of communication. But for now, you just were getting introduced to them, to their energy. And now they go up and out of the room. Now bring your energy back into your physical body and feel your body. I want you to feel where your feet are on the floor, or if you're sitting on a sofa or chair or bed. Feel where your body's actually touching the surface. Feel your spine nice and straight. Breathe all the way into your lungs. Deep, full breath. Listen to the sounds in the room again. So what we've just done is we've just opened a door. Just opened a doorway of communication. A little invitation. And we're going to be working much more closely with your guides and with your higher self and with your intuition. So I want you to give thanks right now to yourself, a little pat on the back for bringing you here, to your higher self for helping you, to all your angels, archangels, guides, ascended master teachers, loved ones who are working with you. And then go ahead and put your hands together like this, fingertips together over the heart. This helps to ground. Bring them into the heart. And then you can even put your fingers, your thumbs in your hands and squeeze your hands together, and that helps to ground you in your body. Feel very rooted and grounded. And then just bring your awareness back here into the place where you are, hearing my voice, and opening your eyes and looking at this picture on the screen of this individual in meditation. And know that you can always at any time go back inside to your inner sanctuary and to that place of relaxation, to that place of stillness, that it's available for you. And we're going to be learning many, many different tools and techniques for doing that. I want to thank you for taking this time. Okay, let's move on. So, the article that I mentioned by TERRA SONORA is The Fine Art of Channeling, and I do recommend that you read that. And one of the things that she says is honor the sacredness of your communications with Spirit. Honor the sacredness. That when you get a little word or a message or a feeling or a picture, it takes a tremendous amount of energy from the interdimensional beings to bring that forth to us. We're kind of at a more rough frequency and vibration, so we have to really soften ourselves to receive that information. Approach it with reverence and profound respect. Open your heart to receive the many gifts of Spirit, and you will be overwhelmed with gratitude for the abundance of love and blessings in your life. I know this is true. This is just the beginning. We have a lot ahead. And then you can go to this website and get more information about her. Yes, there's homework. And really, if you have not read the book Opening to Channel, I really, really want you to read that book, Opening to Channel, How to Connect with Your Guides by Sanaya Roman. That is an excellent book. It's available on Amazon for between $5 and $10, or I think you can buy it new for like $15. Please get that book and read it. It will answer a lot of those little questions about channeling. I'm going to go over as much as I can, but that book is just, it came out in the 80s, and I still think it's the best. Divine Guidance, that's that book that I told you where the quiz is, the intuitive guidance quiz, where you can find out, there's like 25, 30 questions you can go through and find out what your intuitive style is, if you're clairaudient, clairvoyant, or whatever. I have a dream book there, and the reason I have the dream book there is because when we're working with our guides work with us through symbols and pictures and words. But if you have a dream book handy, then you can always look up, if you get a symbol of an ice cream cone, what does that mean? What do the colors of the ice cream cone mean? And it really helps in the interpretation when you're doing readings for people. And then this book is by Robert Dubiel, Body Signals. He has a whole system of intuition developed working with the body and symbols in the body, signals in the body. So that's a book I recommend. And the Michael Handbook is a channeled system for self-understanding. That teaches about soul ages and some of the lessons associated with them. And that's kind of a more advanced study, but for those students who are more advanced, I would recommend that book. This DVD, The Illuminated Chakras, oh my goodness, you have got to get this DVD, or just watch it. Just go online and look up The Illuminated Chakras. You can actually see it online, but I would recommend that you purchase it if you can. The Illuminated Chakras, A Visionary Voyage into Your Inner World. Whoa, that's going to really wake up your chakras and get you more ready to do this work. And then there's many different angel decks. I like the Healing with the Angel Oracle cards by Doreen Virtue. But if you have a deck that you like to work with, I think it's a good idea to have a deck and then to shuffle the cards for each class, take a deck and shuffle the cards and then pick one card for that class and see what angel wants to work with you for that class. So let's see what angel's coming up for us. Oh, the angel of twin flame. That's so cool. So the angel of the twin flame came up today, so about connecting with that other part of the self. And then Sedona Journal of Emergence, that is an amazing magazine full of channeled articles. Maybe you want to write for them. Maybe you just want to read some of them, or maybe you want to be interviewed in that magazine, but it's a great magazine. There's an example of some of the angel cards that you can purchase, and you can find all of these at Amazon.com. And you want to ask what the card means for you, and then choose a card for each class. So here's your homework. You should have pen and paper, but I am going to be writing this down. Read Opening to Channel. Take the quiz on divine communication. Find a quiet place to practice, and please set up an altar. Set up a very, very special place where you're going to be doing your channeling, okay? Get a notebook or journal or recording device for recording messages. Some people don't like to write, they'd rather record, and that's okay. iPhones nowadays, most of them have a voice record you can do, or some people have a digital recorder that they use. And I have on my website 3 meditations that you can practice this week. They're all free. One is 10 minutes, one is 20, and one is 30. So you pick the one that you like, but do practice meditating this week. So just in summary of today's class, we learned about the benefits of developing your psychic ability and what blocks it. We practiced some psychic tools. We discussed various styles to receive intuitive guidance, and we participated in a guided meditation. And we were given homework. So thank you all so much for participating. I know this is a tremendous amount of information. I want to invite you to go back, review it, take a time. You can do a section at a time, work with it, and I hope to see you here next week. Next week, our class is on connecting with your guides, your higher self, and getting a sign. And that's going to be a very, very powerful class. So please take the time to be here for that class.